Hey gang, Ronan here, welcome on back to the Cade and another episode of Suckerpunch Sunday. And for this week, yeah, you can say what you want about May the 4th and all that, but if you're a Star Wars fan, then you know that today is the day. It was 47 years ago on May 26, 1977, that a little known, little anticipated science fiction movie happened to drop in theaters and became the greatest cultural phenomenon of many of our lifetimes. So for this week, we're going to do something a little bit different. Yeah, it's not the norm for a regular Suckerpunch Sunday, but what the heck, we're going to go back to 1992 and we're going to play Super Star Wars for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, I'm doing this for a couple reasons. Obviously, one, to mark the occasion, and two, because in the 40 years I've been playing video games now, this is one of the most celebrated games to ever come out on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And it came out only on the Super NES in North America in November of 1992. It came out in Europe in 1993, and then was reissued on the PS4 and the PS Vita in North America and Europe in November of 2015. Now, this is a run-and-gun game with a bit more to it. But this has also been considered, I'm going to pause this really quick before I jump into it, because there is a timer that you have to pay attention to in the upper right-hand corner. But while this is one of the most highly decorated and celebrated games of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System's catalog, it's also one of the hardest games that I ever remember any of my friends who played Super Nintendo games. And I have to remind everybody, I never had a Super Nintendo growing up. So my only exposure to this console was through friends who had it. And like me, a lot of my friends were really into Star Wars back in the day. So they had it, and I would try it over at their house. And this game kicked my butt, as I will show, most likely, over the course of the next half an hour or so. Now, how this game works is pretty simple. You are Luke Skywalker, and I've got to get through this level and avoid all these enemies. Now, one of the things that you will notice right away is that the enemies in this game never, and I mean never, stop coming. Now, they're dropping hearts, which you need, because the hearts will be able to extend your life, which is what the lightsaber bar is on the left side of the screen. Now, you only get 3 lives. And yes, you have the timer that you have to pay attention to, like in most games of the era. But really, what you have to practice in this game is timing and patience. Because yes, you have to deal with scorpions and beasties that will fly at you from out of the air. If I remember right, I think these are supposed to be crate dragons, because we are on Tatooine at the start of the Star Wars story. Even though this story doesn't originally start with Luke Skywalker. If you remember, it starts with 3PO and R2. Now, the good news is as long as you are stocking up on hearts, it makes it really hard to die in this game. Now we got womp rats to deal with. That's what these green guys are. And again, we can sit here all day and pick these things off, but they're just going to keep coming. So we got to give ourselves a bit of a gap here while they come out at us. And then just keep moving. And now we definitely got to get that, which is a power-up for our blaster. You'll notice we also don't have a lightsaber. We don't have it yet because also, if you remember in the original Star Wars, Luke Skywalker did not start out with his lightsaber. He only got it after he ran into Ben Kenobi out here in the Dune Sea. Which is where we've got to go. Now, the blaster is going to be far and away our most convenient weapon to have through most of this game. And you will get more power-ups as you go for it, and the more power-ups you get, obviously, the more damage it can do. Now, the really nice thing about this game is that you can shoot in 8 different directions. And now we're tearing through most of the enemies in this part of the game. And even better, the weapons we have are now tracking the enemies we're dealing with. Which is not something that you would have thought about back 32 years ago now when we were first playing this game. It was like, wait a minute, we just gotta go after these guys with a simple blaster? Are you out of your damn mind? Alright, so I think we are just about at the boss. And we have to be careful in those quicksand pits because if we get too close to the middle, they will bring us down. Now for this first level, we have to take on the Sarlacc pit monster. Oof, and I already got hit. Now there is a trick to dealing with this thing, and it's to stay out of the reach of its tentacles. And you'll know where it's coming from because one will stick up out of the sand. And actually, it's better for us to be shooting this way than it is to be shooting the other way. As you can see, we're mowing this Sarlacc down. So having 2 power-ups to go on our blaster, we were able to just completely mow through it, and just like that, we're through the first level. Now this game, in terms of its aggregate score rankings, still ranks really, really highly. It's 84.5%. But EGM, GameFan, GamePro, Games Master, Nintendo Magazine System, Nintendo Power, N4, Superplay, Super Pro, and Video Games and Computer Entertainment all gave it either a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10 when it was released. Entertainment Weekly, in their review, wrote that if you ever fantasized about piloting an X-Wing fighter into the heart of the Death Star, now you can do it in simulated 3D as well as reenact the movie's key plot developments. And in 2009, official Nintendo Magazine placed this game 68th on the list of the greatest Nintendo games of all time. So now we go from being a side-scroller to being in Luke's speeder. And what we've got to do is we've got to pick off Jawas. So as you see, we've got 11 of them we got to get. So the only problem is being out here in the Dune Sea, we gotta find them. And we don't have like a radar or something that'll allow us to do that. Ooh, we got hit by bombs and they blew us up. So you gotta stay out of range of them as they are firing off at us. Now the other thing we gotta bear in mind is that we only have 3 lives in this game. So we can't afford to get sloppy. Alright, we're doing better. Now we gotta fight 8 more. Now it's down to 7 more. Now we're down to 2 more, pick up some more health. Alright, now we gotta head towards the sand crawl. Ah, I gotta get off of the... Oh, we died. I was trying to get moved, but I think we ran out of jet fuel was the problem. Now we gotta really be careful because we are almost dead. Ah, we got hit again. And that becomes the difficult part of this game, is that because you've got to navigate your way around everything. Come on, Jawa, go away. Womp rats coming after us. Oh, we got hit again. So we get 5 continues in this game. Which is good, because I won't have to go back through where we started. Pick up the health power up, which is what we wanted. More jet fuel. Much needed power up out of that. So we're running right through a grenade field, which is not good. We landed in the muck and blew us up again. So yeah, this game doesn't do a whole lot of hand holding for you. Oh, we got hit again and we died. There's got to be a way to be able to pick these guys off a little bit cleaner than what we're dealing with. Alright, we're doing a lot better. No, we came down on the muck again. We still died. I was trying to just turn around so I could face the sandcrawler. Because all we had to do was get there. And once again, we got hit. There we go. Oh, my jet fuel. And just like that, we died again. So let's see if we can try this one more time. Alright, got some more jet fuel. And we still got blown up. Because the Jawas are chasing us across the sea, but we can't see them. And again, that's one of the things that people will find really frustrating about a game like this, is that because you should be able to know where your enemies are hitting you from if they're coming from all angles and you can't see them. And you can't attack them. Alright, got that one. Now you would think I'd be able to take these two out. And instead, I get stuck on the mud again, and it just drains the life right out of you. There's got to be a way to navigate yourself through this. There we go. Alright, 5 more to go. Can't let that one hit me. Ah! Sure enough, it hit me. Now, if I can make it to the sand crawler, that puts me in a position where I can go rescue 3PO, then we can go find Ben. Now I hit one more time and that's it. Game over. Yep. And you can't avoid those bombs either. So, alright. Well, we'll call it good there since we've been playing for about 20 minutes. But that, everybody, in a nutshell, is Super Star Wars 4, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System from 1992. Now, is this a good game? Well, it's definitely a game that if you can get on top of it and practice enough, you can beat it in under an hour. There are plenty of speed runs on online on YouTube that you can look at, and you can see guys get through the game in like 45 minutes. But I would imagine that they've spent a whole lot of time practicing and getting really, really good at it in order to be able to pull that off. It's definitely a challenging game, and they did, of course, do Super Empire Strikes Back and Super Return of the Jedi as well. And all three of these games were rated really, really highly when they came out and are still considered to be one of the best video game trilogies ever made. Now, is this a game they can make today? I don't see why not. Now that Disney has the rights to it, and especially now that Star Wars, while you're not getting the movies that we used to get, obviously with the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and then the sequel trilogy, we're getting new content for Star Wars, which is great. Nothing wrong with that, so long as, you've got people coming up with good Star Wars stories. And yeah, it's been hit or miss, but we've, for the most part, been getting a lot more hits than misses, depending on your particular opinion. I'm really looking forward to The Acolyte coming out, next week? That drops on Disney+. But I really enjoyed the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen and Diana Lee Inosanto and all that stuff. That was really cool. So you could very easily make a game like this if you wanted to go back and visit the original trilogy. But would people want to play it as a 2D side-scrolling game? Probably not. They have done, and we've highlighted them on this channel, they did do more advanced games into the 32-bit generation to various degrees. We featured Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, which was a PS1 game, not very good, as well as Star Wars Masters of Terraskazi, which was their attempt at a 3D fighting game, also not very good. But obviously, if you played a game like Knights of the Old Republic, or Shadows of the Empire, or even to an extent, I think with what EA did after cleaning up Battlefront, I think that got a lot of people getting back into these games. And then most recently, we've got Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, the Cal Kestis games, of which I have both of them. I haven't finished them yet, but in a lot of ways, they're very similar to this, just in a 3D format. So, could they make an original trilogy-style game today? Absolutely. But I think right now it would depend on who the studio is, what Disney would allow them to do, and what can you put into it that hasn't already been done in a Star Wars game from the original trilogy to this date. Because yes, we've had the side-scrolling games, we've had the original Star Wars game, which was more like a flight simulator game. They updated that in the early 2000s. It gave us like a whole cabinet game where you actually sit in the cockpit and redo the key scenes from Star Wars Episode 4, the Battle of Yavin. We do the Hoth battle, and then we do the Battle of Endor. And in between, there's a couple little side extra things that are in there as well, which is one of my favorite arcade games still to this day. I think it's called Star Wars Battle Pod. So there is no shortage of it. Is this a game I can recommend you should try? If you're a Star Wars fan and you've never played them, sure, why not? They are challenging, and again, it is as much a matter of testing your patience as it is your reflexes. Like most games at the time, it is about pattern recognition. You do have to deal with a timer, and like I said, the enemies just don't stop coming. They will, as you saw, in the side-scrolling portion, the enemies never stopped. Dealing with the Jawas never stopped. So, in that respect, it's very much like a Dark Souls game. You gotta get good at it if you want to beat it. And it's gonna take quite a bit of practice to do so. If you want to put it into that, then you're going to get as much enjoyment as you put into it. So that, everybody, again, is Suckerpunch Sunday for this Sunday, and I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, best way you can show it, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and ring the bell to be notified of new episodes as they drop. We will be getting back into our revisitation of Metal Gear Solid from 1998 on the good old PS1. That will start up again tomorrow, and those will air new episodes as we normally do every Monday and Wednesday in exchange for our one-day playthroughs and WTF Wednesday. Be sure to follow us on social media through Instagram and Threads at Ronan's Arcade. Help spread the word about us so we can continue to build our subscriber base and make this channel bigger and better. And if there's a game you would like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on social media. It can be any game from those consoles that you want. My name is Ronan. It has been great to spend this Sunday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. May the Force be with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow as we dive back into Metal Gear Solid. Bye.